Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she doesn't deserve our mom's attention and sympathy after finding out her fiancé cheated? I, 26 female, have a younger sister, Bella, 23 female, and we've had a tense relationship for the past 10 years. When I was 6 and she was 3, our dad, 47 male, cheated on our mom, 47 female, which destroyed our family. My mom was working hard in medical school while also trying to parent me. Meanwhile, my dad resented that she had the audacity to continue school instead of dropping out to be a full-time wife. Instead of talking to her about it, he became passive-aggressive, tried to sabotage her, and eventually started an affair with my stepmom, Judy, 44 female. My mom found out when she came home and caught them in her bed. Since Bella and I were really young, my mom decided not to tell us the truth. Judy used that to get on our good side. I was always polite but distant, but Bella was young enough to fall for it. And before long, she started calling Judy Mom. That really upset our mom, but Judy and my dad loved it. I found out the truth when I was 10 and became cold and angry whenever I had to go to my dad's place. My mom tried to put me in therapy, but Judy and my paternal grandmother didn't think it was necessary. So my dad refused to consent. My mom had to take him to court over it. When Bella was 13, she started pressuring me to acknowledge Judy on Mother's Day and to convince our mom to share the day with her, since, in Bella's words, they're both our moms. I finally snapped and told her the truth. At first, she didn't believe me, but when Judy's brother confirmed it, she sulked for about a week. Then she went right back to being affectionate with Judy. Her excuses? It was a long time ago. Cheating happens. You can't stop love. Everything worked out in the end. She started telling our mom she should forgive our dad and accept Judy. She even told her that she would be a bad mom if she hated them more than she loved her children. To her credit, my mom tried to get along with them, but Judy was such a passive-aggressive mean girl witch that my mom eventually gave up. When it was time for Bella's high school graduation, she gave our mom an ultimatum: either sit next to Judy for the entire ceremony and pay for her and our dad's share of the dinner bill — my mom was already paying for everyone else — or she wouldn't be invited at all. Our mom chose to sit out the graduation and didn't attend the dinner. Judy then made a post about how evil some mothers can be for not putting their children first. Bella liked and shared it. In response, our mom took back the car she had gifted Bella. It was still in her name. She still paid for Bella's college tuition but refused to cover her room and board like she had for me. Bella accused her of favoritism. After that, they went very low contact, and it's been that way for years. During this time, Bella met, dated, and got engaged to Ethan, 26 male. She did send our mom a wedding invitation, but I suspect it was just to get some money out of her. Unfortunately for Bella, the engagement ended after she found out Ethan had been cheating on her. She learned it the hard way when she went to the doctor and discovered he had given her an STD. Bella reached out to our mom, but all she got was a short text: "I'm sorry you're going through this." Bella was furious, but I told her that given how she had treated our mom and dismissed what our dad and Judy did, she shouldn't expect much. Now, Bella, my dad, Judy, and some paternal relatives are calling me an a-hole. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The forgiveness bus is a ride set up by people who do awful things and don't want long-term consequences. I am brazenly, unashamedly, stealing the heck out of this line. What a perfect way to sum up the whole be a bigger person scam. Thank you. Not the a-hole. Why is Bella upset? If she thinks your mom should forgive your dad and Judy, then she should forgive Ethan and his affair partner. She should even attend their wedding and send an expensive gift, maybe even pay for their wedding dinner. Dad and his relatives and Bella, who's been brainwashed from an early age, think you're the bad one. Everyone else without a bias rightly thinks you are not the a-hole. Stick with mom in this whole mess. Looking at this from just your and your sister's perspectives, you're the a-hole. Age and time matter here. Your sister was 3 when this happened. She probably doesn't even remember a time when your parents were together. If she grew up knowing Judy as a second mom for 10 years, of course she wouldn't feel the same way you do. You found out the truth at 10. She found out at 13. You just can't compare the two situations. You're right, both situations are different. My mom gave my sister more sympathy towards her situation in a single text than Bella ever gave her in years. Next story. Am I the a-hole for feeling betrayed after my wife hid that she could never have kids until years into our marriage? I, 34 male, met my wife, 33 female, about 10 years ago. From the very beginning, I knew she was special. We clicked instantly. Same sense of humor, same life goals. Or so I thought, and just an overwhelming feeling of, this is the person I want to build a life with. As we dated, I made it very clear that I've always wanted a family. I wasn't pushy about it, but I talked about how I looked forward to being a dad someday, how I wanted to raise kids, and create a loving home together. She never gave any indication that she didn't want that too. She would smile, nod, and sometimes even talk about what kind of parent she thought she'd be. Fast forward a few years, we get married. It was the happiest day of my life. I loved this woman with my whole heart, and I truly believed we were on the same page about everything that mattered. Then a few years into our marriage, we started talking more seriously about trying for kids. That's when she finally dropped the bombshell. She has known since before we even met that she has a medical condition that makes it impossible for her to conceive. Not unlikely, not difficult, impossible. I was stunned. It wasn't even just that she couldn't have kids, it was that she knew all along and never told me. Not when we were dating, not when I expressed over and over how much I wanted children, not before we got married. When I asked her why she never told me, she just said she didn't want to lose me and hoped that by the time we got to this point, I would love her enough that it wouldn't matter. She also admitted that she was scared I would leave if I knew. And now, I don't even know how to feel. I love her. I loved her. But I can't shake this overwhelming feeling of betrayal. This wasn't some small omission. She took away my ability to make an informed decision about my future. She knew this was a deal breaker for me and just lied by omission. I feel trapped. I feel cheated. And worst of all, I don't know what to do next. Reddit, what would you do? She only cared about protecting herself. And you should now do the same. Well, everyone is telling him to leave and divorce, but he stupidly thinks that giving kids, adoption or surrogacy with this liar of a woman will fix his marriage. No, because having kids is not the real problem here. The problem is that she lied, strung him along and trapped him. Having kids will not change the fact that she conned him into marriage. Kids cannot save marriages with these kinds of issues. Having kids with a woman who you cannot trust will not be beneficial for you or the kids if later Opie decides he cannot keep with what she did to him. Yeah, this exactly. Well put. There are other ways to have kids without conceiving naturally. But that's not the issue, is that she misled him for years. If she'd told him while they were dating, been honest and vulnerable, he might have said, hey, we can adopt instead. It's okay by me. But she didn't. She kept a lie up for years and even talked about herself as a parent, knowing that it was impossible in a natural way. The betrayal is, in my opinion, unforgivable, and that's why he should leave. You should leave her. She betrayed you, strung you along for her own selfish wants. She completely dismissed her feelings and made you look like an idiot. Sorry. I knew this was important to you, but still doesn't care because she got what she wanted. You can never trust her now. A relationship without trust is nothing, not the a-hole. I've seen a lot of replies saying I should leave her, and honestly, part of me agrees. I feel completely betrayed, and trust is such a big deal to me. But I also don't want to condemn her for something she couldn't control, her medical condition. The issue is more than she never really talked about wanting to have kids either. It's not just about the kids, it's about the fact that she hid something so important for me. I care about her deeply. But I don't know if I can move past this. I'm leaning toward leaving because I'm struggling to see how we rebuild trust after this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling a woman her baby is not a miracle? 15 female here. My baby half-brother was born a few months ago. My stepmother has baby fever right now and has been arranging mommy and baby events at the house, constantly inviting other moms and babies over. I don't care. They can do whatever they want as long as they don't bother me. However, she usually wants me to help with prep and cleanup, which I don't like doing because it's not my problem and they're not my guests. Anyway, this past weekend, one woman was there with her baby, and she kept going around showing the baby to everyone, repeatedly asking, "Is she not a miracle?" Honestly, it was obnoxious, but I wasn't rude. I didn't say anything until she stopped me on my way out to see my friends. She asked, "Is she not a miracle?" and then offered me the chance to hold the baby. I asked, "Do you want an honest answer to that?" She said yes. So I said, "No. Tens of thousands of them are made every day. It's the furthest thing from a miracle." She was annoyed and said I was short-sighted and rude. I didn't say anything and just left. Later that night, my stepmother and dad told me I had been rude to their guest and should have assured her that her child is special because she is special to her. I honestly don't care. But they want me to call her and apologize, and I don't see why I should. She was the one who stopped me, asked me a question, and insisted on an answer. I even offered to bow out, but she wanted an honest answer. So I gave it. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comment. Haha, I mean, she asked a teenager. What was she expecting? Honestly, just the fact that she was going around making people say her child is a miracle rubs me the wrong way. So not the a-hole. Personally, as a mom and employee at a high school, you do not want your teen girl's baby crazy. In fact, you want them to be 100% grossed out by them. All the girls at the high school I work at that get baby fever end up pregnant. Exactly, and her answer was entirely age-appropriate, especially dealing with an infant sibling. The girls who babysit a lot or have infant siblings are generally more nope on babies too. You were not rude, you were unkind. There is a difference. She approached you and insisted on an answer. If anyone was rude, she was for insisting. She learned that not everyone would love her baby. It is an important lesson, but she learned it from a 15-year-old, then someone else. However, you were unkind. Life is hard enough. Being unkind is just throwing more hate in the world that already has too much. This may be a small thing to you, but you never know what is going on with people. You could have just said a thing that will push this person over the edge. That is not cool. This is a smile and nod moment. You give a half smile, nod your head in a vague half no/yes, and move on. If you ever wonder if you should say something, ask yourself how you would feel if the situation was reversed. Solid response. To add, if someone has gone through infertility or a difficult pregnancy, their baby does feel like a miracle. The way she goes about it and insists on people agreeing is weird and rude. But there might be a lot going on that you don't know or see. So kindness and moving on is really the best approach. Last story. Am I the a-hole my mom got dumped because I didn't want her new boyfriend sleeping in our house overnight? So my mom has been living with me, 24 female, since she got divorced a decade ago, and has been struggling to manage things on her own since then. She lost her job in the summer and was originally looking for jobs a lot. But now she isn't really doing that. She met someone working for my apartment recently, and they were talking a little bit for a few months. Now, this talking was literally just seeing each other outside and chatting for a minute before going about their way. Well, she had him over for the first time on Christmas Eve 2024. We were fine with that, but requested that he please not stay overnight since he's a stranger to us. She refused to kick him out, and he stayed in our apartment the whole night. After that, I tried to discuss some boundaries with her, which I thought were reasonable. The only boundary I had was for him not to stay overnight until my sister and I got to know him better. She was mad at us for that, and frequently argued with us and tried to plead with us, but she respected it. But one night was weird, because she went to bed at 10 p.m. Then at 11, she came to get us, saying he texted her wanting to come over and asking if we would let him. We gently stated our boundary again, and she said that she's already told him he could stay overnight. That hurt me a little, but she ended up telling him to go back home. She was mad though, since he lives a few hours away and only comes to the apartment to work. But he could come over a couple of nights a week, and they'd sleep together, then he'd leave before it got too late. Some of the reasons my sister and I requested this boundary are because our dad was notorious for having random people over when we'd come for visitation as teenagers and not warning us beforehand. And it's also weird because not once have they gone on a traditional date. They never go places together and my mom has no interest in it. It's only sex in her room a couple of nights a week. She's also been drinking a lot more since meeting him, which concerns me because she's already jobless. The final part of the story is that she says he's just broke up with her because my sister and I wouldn't let him stay overnight. I tried to tell my mom we didn't mean never and just wanted to get to know him before a stranger slept in our apartment. I also think it's weird that he would rather not be with her than wait a little bit to sleep with her overnight. And keep in mind that they were seeing each other multiple times per week, not just overnight. My mom is pissed at me, begging me to let him stay overnight so she can get him back, and giving me the whole spiel about how she has always taken care of us and this is how we repay her. Saying, don't you care about my mental health? And that he's the only thing that makes her happy. This has been weighing on me for weeks. So I really need to know, am I the a-hole for upholding my boundary? Edited to add. Adding a new section about where the guy lives to make it clearer, since I shouldn't have buried it in long paragraphs. I don't want to reveal too much, but he lives 3 hours away, and his job involves traveling, so is down where we were on weekdays and doesn't have a permanent place up here. Yeah, of course. We lived with my mom when I was 14 until college, when I started paying most of the rent because my mom was struggling. But my sister and I moved for a work opportunity a few years ago, and our mom came with us since she didn't have much at our old place and couldn't pay rent alone. That's why we live together now. When the divorce happened, we lost the house and have been living in apartments and people's basements since. Not the a-hole. It is 2025. Please inform your mom that a dude who would rather go to your house with your 2 adult kids to have sex instead of, I don't know, his home? Is married. Or, since he doesn't have a place to stay in the area he works, is looking for a free hotel with extras. I feel ya, but in my experience, when dude would rather text you at 11 and come to you rather than ever inviting you to his, it's because he can't be caught at his. She says he just broke up with her because me and my sister wouldn't let him stay overnight. He broke up with her because she does not have her own place. She's just blaming you for it. Not the a-hole. The guy is a mooch. All he cares about is a free place to sleep and getting some action. If he really wanted to have a relationship with her, he'd get a hotel room. He obviously is either married or has a significant other, and this is his side gig. Mom is being used and wants her kids to accommodate this loser. There's nothing wrong with mom wanting a sex life, but she should make other arrangements. What if everyone in the house was bringing folks in for sleepovers? Yuck.